Hello and welcome to Becoming Abundant podcast. I am your host, Anna Maria Jinga, and this is our side of the internet where we get to speak about true abundance, personal authority, emotional optimization, and the pure power of alignment, all while living in the presence and guidance of God Himself. I am a holistic coach and mentor focusing on healing the emotions keeping you stuck so that the mind and body can align and live a limitless life. We all have a mission and a purpose, and I am here to help you unchain from what's been holding you back to actually live in your full potential. Think of it as transformative triggering in the best possible way. The time has come to live a life you love. Let's dive in. Hello, my darlings, and welcome to another fabulous week of Becoming Abundant podcast. I am your host, Anna, and I welcome you. Thank you for joining another week, another fabulous topic, another diving into our subconscious mind, our relationship with God, our true abundance. Thank you for joining. If this is your first time, say hi in the comments. I'm always happy to have new people here because I always hear from the new people like, how do I not know of you? Well, it's been a short time since I started talking. We're only about 6 months into this podcast, so this all is very fresh. So thank you for joining. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure if you're an OG, you share this with someone that might need it because you know as much as I do that every time we create something here, I bring you guys stuff that I work with my clients on. I bring you guys stuff that I work with my own head and heart with God in my own growth, in my own transformation and experience. So it's always a lot of fun and a lot of like mind bending topics as well. So, my darlings, today, funny enough, I started recording the podcast a few minutes earlier and stopped it because the topic that I chose out of about 4 topics, no, I had 3 topics written on a list for the next couple of weeks because we will be traveling. So I'm like, let's brainstorm some more topics so that I can record. And I stopped it. And I said, okay, apparently I'm not meant to record any of the things that I thought I would record today. Let's go back to something that was sitting on my mind. I want to talk more about freedom. And I remember that I had this epiphany earlier this week where a post just came out of me, suddenly came out of me. So I'm here to read it to you. If you haven't seen it yet, let me read the caption because it blew my mind after I wrote it because it made so much sense. So I'm going to use the post to dive deeper into our potential to actually live in freedom and to learn how to become more limitless, both in God's presence and in our own choices as well. So the post goes something like this: how can you explain freedom to someone who is in love with the safety of their cage? I truly believe that beauty is in the eye of the beholder and freedom is in the eyes of the believer. But what do we actually believe in? We believe in the need to control. We believe the need to know more and more and more than ever before. We believe that the journey never ends and there's always something better, bigger, cooler, more fun, more captivating out there, but miss what's right in front of us. We believe the need to be treated like gods, like kings and queens, but act like beggars. We believe we are entitled to honor and justice and fairness, but treat others with unbiased judgment and deception. We believe we are worthy of material possessions, but lack feeling gratitude for our own spiritual gifts. We believe we need more connection to our source and creator, but deny God's presence and part in our life to life journey. We believe in ideals but lack presence in our own current moment. So I can't help but wonder what would change when we start becoming aware of the double standards we choose to live our lives by, and gradually shift into a balance that helps us feel in control of what is in our control and at peace with what is not, grateful for what we have and curious for what we can grow into, at peace in God's path for us and driven to make space and let Him take and make His will happen in our lives. What would our lives look like when we fall out of love with our own comfy cages and conformity and fall in love with our true freedom and potential limitlessness? Our mind and emotions can be a comfy cage or an expanded potential. It's all up to us to choose. So, what are you ready to choose today? Now, when I wrote that, I realized that not only was I writing it for everyone else, for my clients, for you guys, for the audiences, for people that are just stepping into the Becoming Abundant community, I was also writing it for myself, for my old self that wanted so much to fit in, that was living a constant double life because I was choosing what didn't make sense to me, but what I believed would make sense to others around me. So, that is the first question that I want to invite you to kind of ponder on in your little notebooks. If you have notebooks, I love for you to open them. Write down the question: what are you actually accepting in your life that is doing a disservice to who you truly are? I was accepting to be a people pleaser. I was accepting to not feed myself properly because of standards that were supposed to be for my age, for my mentality, for the place I'm living in, for the way I am running my life, for my energy, for my height, for my weight, for whatever. I was always choosing to not sit and give myself peace because busyness looks better than peace, even though peace feels 10,000 times better than busyness. I chose to not speak my truth for the longest time. Side note, if you do not speak your truth and you have a thyroid problem, don't take medication. Now, I'm not a doctor, so I can't tell you what to do. But think of what is happening in your thyroid, in your throat center, where we hold a lot of limitations around how we express ourselves and the truth that we allow ourselves to feel and speak. Because the moment we do not speak enough, you do not express enough, you do not show up as your truth and true potential, you're limiting yourself, so your body starts to limit itself. So if you have a thyroid problem, maybe also check in what's going on in your emotional part of the thyroid. What are you not speaking? So I was choosing to not speak. I was choosing to not communicate my truth in order to not make others feel uncomfortable. I was choosing to sound a certain way because I thought it sounded cool. I was choosing to not allow myself and my voice to be heard because who was I to have a deeper truth? But here I am, fast forward 15 years later. My voice is being heard across the continent, across the globe, honestly. I have listeners. Huh. I have speaking gigs all over. Let's put that into the the projection for the future, the prophecy of the future. I have speaking gigs all over the globe. Yes, let's put that into the potentiality of the abundant future that's coming my way. What I wanted to say is I have listeners all over the globe, and it's fantastic. The fact that I started speaking gave me back my true power over my own freedom. And I didn't start speaking raging and aggressively. I started speaking from experience of, hey, life can look different, life can look better when you shift into taking back control over the areas of your life that you can actually control. And then we tie it all back to God, because you know why I made this whole podcast and space happen for us is personal development, in my opinion, lacks the connection back to God. So I just saw not a niche, not a marketing thing, but an avenue that wasn't fully tapped into, that wasn't fully uncovered. So I started speaking, and everything else made sense. I started reaching more people. I started hearing back from people, experiencing transformation just through my words. So then I come to you to ask you, what's something that you're doing right now that is limiting you from maybe inspiring others to live a better life? Where are you limiting yourself? What is constraining you? What is the comfy cage that you have accepted to live in your life that looks and makes it look very strange to look outside of the cage? I remember when I was a few years back, before I recommitted back to Christ, I was so high on my high horse around, now I know better, so yes, I do better, but at the same time, my better looks better than your better, kind of thing. And I had that going on, and my better was limiting myself to see that everyone's journey is very different, that everyone's journey is meant to be respected, not accepted as, oh, if you're deciding to just choose something that's really bad for you, I will support you. I will not support you, but I will understand you. That shift of perspective has made me a 10 times better coach and mentor than ever before. Because the moment we step into compassionate leadership, this is something I was talking to a client of mine last night. When we step into compassionate leadership, that is a space and focus that brings more truth out of whatever you're experiencing. Because the moment we actually let go of judgment from a place of, I will judge you and I need to control you, and then actually step back and see their side of the story, help them understand that maybe somewhere in their side of the story, something is happening that's limiting them, and then move from a place of leading them out of their own lack and limited surroundings into what feels like more control for them. That is the key to actually being a leader. Not from a place of, oh, you should be doing this because I'm doing this and you're doing things wrong. If you tell someone that they're doing things wrong, they will fight back. I would fight back too when someone is telling me that I'm doing something wrong. But if someone's expressing to you, hey, I understand where you're coming from. I understand the baggage that you're carrying. I understand the past that has been bringing you here into this space of lacking security, worthlessness, a space of lack of control over yourself. I understand it. And here are some ways that I have done differently that have helped me, and maybe you can try them out as well to see if that is something that could create more potential for you. That changes the whole story. That brings more freedom, and that also makes you be more of a leader and not so much of someone that just wants to tell someone else they're doing something wrong. It's a shift, it's a perspective. Now, another thing that I was thinking as I opened up the subject of, it's hard to tell someone living in their comfy cage to talk to them about their freedom and to talk to them about how big the outside world is and how much potential for growth, for healing, for happiness, for joy, for peace, for connection, for community is outside of their cage, when their cage is so perfectly aligned for them, they will fight back. Now, if they fight back, it's normal because they feel like you are trying to poke their safety, their comfort, their protection. So they will go to war with you, quote unquote. However, you can do something secretly different. You do not need to fight a battle that is not yours. They can fight, but you're planting the seed. They can resist the topics that you're bringing, the shows that you are putting on for them, the stories that you are helping them kind of shake off. They will resist it. But that doesn't mean that your story, your truth is not true. It means they're not ready. The filters are there because of the patterning and the profiling that has happened in their mind. So when you think of kind of shifting now towards talking me to you, when you think of your life right now, what is your comfy cage? What is the space that you have surrendered to and accepted as your limit of growth, as your space of surrender, as your comfortable home, emotional home, mental home, physical home, maybe? What is something that you have accepted? Maybe even an identity of how your body should be showing up. Maybe an identity of how your job needs to look, your family needs to look, your relationships, community, connection to God, lack of connection to God, being part of something or not part of something. What have you accepted? That if you would put yourself in the perspective to ask, what else is available for me besides this? Not in spite of this. We're not throwing your comfy cage away. We're slowly dividing the limitations, making them more transparent so you can see and grow from there. Not completely detach yourself and feel completely out of sorts, because then we would bother the nervous system. We want the nervous system to feel comfortable in change. We do not want the nervous system to resist change. So, my second question is, what is your comfy cage that you have accepted that is limiting you from what potential freedom you can actually have in your life? Maybe it's somewhere in the lines of you've accepted a diagnosis. Maybe you've accepted a story. Maybe you've accepted a credit limit. Maybe you've accepted something in your life that has been happening often as that's it. That is my identity. That's happening without questioning more. What would it look like for you to question more? What would it look like for you to see what is outside of the filtering that you have accepted so far? And as I was writing, I remember when I was writing the post, as I was writing the post through all of the lists of contradictions, of needs to control, of wants versus actualities in our lives, I realized how often us as humans, myself included, put double standards on ourselves because we think we know better. When in fact, it is not that we do not know better, it's that we can learn more. We can be more, we can grow more, we can accept more as well. It's that saying where I said it earlier in the post, the journey never ends. Yes, the journey never ends, but at the same time, the journey ends, for example, for a Christian, when we come to God. That's the journey. We belong there, and then from there, we continue to expand and transform and grow our relationship with God and our impact in the world. The journey stops in that peace and starts expanding from there. Because if we would focus into this space of the journey never ends, it can create lack. It can create the space of it's never enough. It's always something more, better, bigger, brighter, whatever out there. So you're always chasing. Whereas when you're in peace, and that is your space of belonging in that peace, you can just expand yourself from there. You can expand your energy from there. You can raise your frequency and moving more and more further, because the thing is, the journey can end. The expansion doesn't have to end, but the journey can end when you find your peace. So this leads me to my third and last question. I promised myself to keep it short today, which almost never happens, but let's go with it. Third question is, what does peace feel like to you? And 3.1 part of question is, what's in your control to provide for yourself in order to be more in that peace? And I'm really curious what your guys' answers are. So please remember to send me in an email or in a comment below. My email is info@becomingabundant.net. I'm always very happy to hear from you and know your journeys as well. So thank you so much for sending all of the responses and all of the emails. It's always absolutely beautiful in the weekend after an episode, just going through your emails and replying and seeing the progress and the growth. It makes me really happy to know that what we're doing here is impacting so much. So make sure you share this with someone that needs a little reminder of how freedom needs to look like, or should look like, or can look like. And thank you so much for tuning in for another fabulous week of Becoming Abundant podcast. Until next week, my loves, I wish you a fantastic time, and remember to stay salty and bright. Bye now.